Welcome to another edition of Schreiber Newsline. Coming up tonight, a New York State trooper and Port Washington fire medic help teach driver's ed students the dangers of teenage driving and the importance of seatbelts. We'll look at the Mad and Sad programs which educate students about drunk driving while offering alternatives to driving if you've had one too many. Get on your togas as Saturnalia hits Schreiber. And get the latest sports highlights with Sports Shorts. All this and much, much more coming up tonight on the Schreiber Newsline with anchors Ross Martin and Lauren Siegel. And Andy Cass with the sports.
Good evening.
Welcome to SNL. I'm Ross Martin.
And I'm Lauren Siegel.
Here at Schreiber, we have many electives for the students to choose from. One of the most popular ones are the Driving and Traffic Safety program. In this course, the students learn many things from car awareness to driving safety. Let's take a look. Explain the purpose of the fire medic presentation.
Well, as much as we try to teach about auto safety and how to avoid accidents, unfortunately, they still happen. And if they happen, students must be prepared for them. We have our fire medic come down, Mr. Anthony Holloway, who is a Port Washington fire medic. He comes down and he demonstrates first aid techniques and life-saving techniques and what to do when you first come upon a scene of an accident. One of the major demonstrations is removing an injured person from a car. And one of the first steps is to immobilize the person. And they slowly slide a wooden board underneath the body so they can remove him without injuring the spinal cord. Once the body is outside the car, they want to further mobilize them if they must by using a special kind of blow-up suit.
Did you know speeding causes more than 10,000 fatal accidents in 1 year? 4,000 of these accidents occur when a teenager is driving.
And another of our famous guest speakers is our state trooper, Raymond Novice, who comes over here and does two things. One of them, he talks about how students should react, or anyone should react, for example, if they're pulled over by a patrol officer, what they should do, what they should not do, like get out of a car first and start arguing their case, what kind of identification, and he also talks about his experiences and brings along something called a convincer. And the convincer is a device that simulates its low-speed impact using a seatbelt. And it's about 8 mile per hour impact, and where students ride into basically a rubber stopper at 10 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour.
Did you know it has been estimated that the lives of 12,000 persons could be saved annually if people used their seatbelts?
You know, Lauren, I took the driver's ed program, and I rode the convincer, participated in the activity, and it was a course.
I'm taking it right now, and it seems good. In addition to the driver's traffic safety program, we also have SAD Safe Rides, an extracurricular program run by students to reduce drunk driving in our town. Right now, we have an interview with Anna, who's the head of Safe Rides.
So on December 15th, we had the MAD assembly. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, MAD stands for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and we had the people from MAD come and speak about their experiences with drunk drivers. They were all victims of a drunk driver in that they either lost a son or a daughter to a person who had been driving drunk. And it doesn't mean the person was totally intoxicated or inebriated. The person had just had a few drinks on their way home that day, and their children ended up the innocent victims. They came and spoke to the Schreiber student body. All the health classes and all the driver's ed classes were excused from regular classes to attend the workshop and watch the presentation. It lasted an hour.
How did you think the impact was on the kids? What did they say?
The students' response is very positive. What happened was the students were required to fill an evaluation form provided by MAD. Then the MAD likes the evaluation forms back in their office after the assembly so it can reevaluate their program. And reading their responses and speaking with them in the health classes, they had a feeling that their behaviors would change because of the assembly, that it wouldn't just be a one-shot deal and they'd feel this way tomorrow and the next day, but then a week later they'd forget about it. They felt that it had a long-lasting impact and that they would be less likely to drive drunk themselves. They would stop friends or someone they knew from driving drunk, and aware of the impact on the lives.
That's pretty good. Actually, we have interviews with someone student at school. So what they say. So what you guys think of the assembly?
The assembly was put together very well, and it was very touching to see how a family is affected by drinking and drive.
And Diana?
Well, I thought it was seeing another viewpoint, another perspective. You see how it affects the victims, and then you actually see how it affects the other people who are related to them and friends of them and very close to them, and see how it really affected their lives and how hard it is for them after it. And it was very convincing.
That's good. And the Thomas twins, what did you guys think?
I thought the second woman who was in the crash was the most dramatic of them all because she had a hands-on first view crash. It was good. Personally, I feel the message came across very well. Usually we don't stop to think about these things. You know, you got kids running around, you got high school kids running around drinking, driving. You don't stop to think. People made me think. Thank you!
Hey, Ken, what did you think of the Mad Assembly?
I thought it was really moving. You know, I never get into a car with a drunk driver or anything, because from those stories, I was really moved and everything.
And you would never drink drive either.
It's dangerous, man. You can wreck your car and everything, wreck your life and everything.
If you were at a party and you saw that one of your friends was going to get into a car and he was drinking, would you allow this? Did the assembly convince you to act differently?
Yeah. The assembly was really good. It was really touching. It was very touching assembly. Some of the points that came up, my cousin died, and that was really touching and it hurt. But I mean, I would never let a friend drive.
That's good.
It was really touching. It was great.
I think it had a very powerful message for the people that plan to drink and drive, and I think it makes them think twice about their actions. It was a very powerful message.
Well, it was very disturbing since we're new drivers and we're not very good drivers in the first place. And to think that so many drunk drivers are out there, very scary. Very scary.
Well, ever from a kid, I was taught never to drink and drive, but that assembly really hit me in the heart because those stories, and especially I almost shed a tear actually. And I don't know, I was really touched by that. And I never will drink and drive.
So as well as organizing these assemblies, you're also involved with the SAD Safe Rides program, right?
Yeah, I've been advisor for the program since it started here in 1984. And we have a SAD component, which is Students Against Driving Drunk, which is the education end of the program to get the students aware. And we also have Safe Rides, which is our actual implementation of our SAD goals.
So tell me about a typical Safe Rides night.
The students show up at the hall at around 10:30 p.m. There are 3 student drivers, 3 student riders, and probably about 2 student dispatchers, people that answer the phone, along with at least 1 adult supervisor that evening. All these students have been trained. They set up the hall, get out their boards with the information that they have to take down from the phone calls. They set up their games. They make their food run and get their goodies for the night. And they wait for the calls to come in. When the call comes in, they take down the necessary information. Since our service is free and confidential, the forms are kept only by the president at the end of the evening, and they don't show up anywhere else in school. And that's why I think our program is so successful. They take the student's name, and if they want to give a fake name, that's fine too, the address that they're at, and the telephone number. That way, if they suspect the call might be a prank call, they can call back and make sure that somebody there really wanted a ride. They show up at the destination, pick up the student, and bring directly to their home. They then return to the hall, and they wait for more calls to come in. There have been nights when absolutely no calls came in, and there have been nights where they've had as many as 7 or 8. But I stress to the students that even if they're there the whole night and no one has called, it's still a worthwhile experience for everyone because you don't really know how many lives you might have saved by working on that particular evening.
Well, it sounds like a great program. I'm glad that our school has stuff like this, the assemblies, this Safe Rides program. And thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
And back to the news desk.
Safe Rides is a very successful program, and I'm glad to be part of it.
It is a great program. I'm also a member, and if anyone would like to become one, parent or student, you can contact Miss Amsler in the high school. But enough about driving. Let's talk about spaghetti. Yes, the Spaghetti Jammy Jam was on December 17th. This was a fundraiser for the homeless, which was sponsored by many clubs and organizations in our school. It was a big success. They raised over $1,000. Now, Paul, did you help organize this event?
Yes, I contributed to the organization of this event.
What went in the process?
The main thing was just getting, I'm part of the GO, it wasn't just the GO. It was other clubs getting together, and that was the hardest part, coordinating the club and what they were doing and how to get them to do it.
All right, thanks a lot.
No problem. Nice talking to you.
How was the process? How did you come about the Spaghetti Jammy Jam?
We did ticket sales again this year. We set up in the lobby, sold the tickets, helped at the doors, collected tickets. We did pretty good. We were expecting a little bit more, but we had a great turnout, over 150, and we're pleased with the turnout.
It's really good. I think everyone's having a good time tonight. It looks like.
Food was great. Senior class club served. I'm on senior class club also, and everybody had a great time. I helped make the food myself, so had a really good time. I hope everybody else did.
I think they did. Looks really successful. Thank you.
Dr. Barish, how you doing tonight?
Doing just fine. This is a great occasion.
You think it's been a great success?
Well, just looking around, there's a nice arrangement of kids, they're all grades, different, backgrounds, and so everyone looks like they're having a great time. So if you gauge by those things, I'd say it's a big hit.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, thanks a lot.
Can't ask for a better night.
This is a great event, and a lot of people showed up. The food was rather well done, spaghetti from cafeteria, and the band that played was very good. We're waiting to hear from the jazz band for some more fun.
So what did you do tonight?
Well, tonight we provided all the food for everyone. We donated all the pasta and the sauce and everything like that, and the bread. And I had the lady over there, over yonder, Maria, helped me out tonight, and I think it was a pretty good turnout.
And I noticed you won an award tonight. What was that for?
Yeah, that was pretty surprising. I got a little award for this whole thing by the people that ran it, and I was much appreciated. Really, thank you.
Thanks a lot for listening. We're at Park.
When we come back, we'll show you the Saturnalia and a special AIDS editorial. We'll also take you back to the day of the Schreiber blackout and to Sports Awards night. All this and much, much more when we return.
That's my dad. And that's Mom. Dad's got an idea. A way to get rid of all the grody garbage that's polluting the world. He's invented a big rocket ship to shoot all the garbage into outer space. Mom's not sure, but Dad says his invention will save the world.
There's an easier way to save the world. Recycle. For your free recycling action guide, write Recycle. Environmental Defense Fund, 257 Park Avenue South, New York, New York.
There was another dinner recently, the Saturnalia. Latin students dressed up in togas had storytelling contests and ate a hearty, home-cooked Latin meal.
What exactly is Saturnalia?
Well, Saturnalia is a festival that the Romans had in honor of their god Saturn. It was around harvest time, and it meant that harvest had been taken and all the workers were free to celebrate. And one of the features of Saturnalia was the fact that slaves and masters sometimes would exchange roles, and they would be giving gifts. And this is over our 20th Saturnalia here at Schreiber, and we'll have over 100 participants in togas tonight.
Yeah, they're all Latin students in our school?
Yes, they're all Latin students, and we fund this in a couple of ways. One of the ways we fund it is that the student government has always been very generous in a contribution to our evening, and this year the student store is going to give us some funds. We also have bake sales to raise money.
And all these posters and everything, is that made by the students?
Yes, each poster is made by a different class, and it's a competition. One student will explain the poster to a panel of judges, and they will pick the one they think is the best for the first prize. But all the students in the class work on the poster, design it, paint it in class, and get a big charge out of it. And each poster represents a myth about lovers in legend.
Well, are there other contests that go on tonight? Like, is it a big event? Like, what goes on?
Oh, absolutely. To round off the evening, we have different contests, a Mr. Rome, a Ms. Rome contest, and the storytelling contest. And the kids will look forward to these because each class chooses, or a person volunteers, to be either a Mr. Rome, Ms. Rome, or storyteller. The person who is chosen or volunteers to be Mr. Rome gathers together with the other Mr. Romes who have also been chosen by the classes, and each one has a question put to him and also to her, Ms. being Miss Rome. And the questions are usually taken from mythology. For example, Mr. Rome, we see that there's been a big uprising of slaves lately in your district. What do you plan to do about it? Or Ms. Rome, that is a lovely pair of sandals you're wearing. Could you tell us where did you get them? And the storytelling contest is especially a lot of fun. Usually Ms. Adams starts out a well-known myth or legend and stops halfway through and usually calls upon the various storytellers from the different classes to complete the story any way he or she wishes. And sometimes the endings can be quite surprising.
Well, it sounds great. I'm sure it's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to it. See you there. I'm here with the newest couple of the high school. How long have you guys been dating?
Well, we've been together for about 5 years now. Yeah, it's been a good long while. You know how it is. But he's my boyfriend. What can I say?
So where do they get all this food from? They make it themselves?
Everyone to come to the banquet tonight has to come with a toga, a grab bag gift, and a contribution of food. That's right. So there's homemade food. It's really good. And we go in order of 12th, 11th, 10th, and 9th graders.
You're having a time at the Saturnalia?
We're having a great time at the Saturnalia. We cannot wait for next year at the Saturnalia.
How many Saturnalias have you been?
4, baby, and they don't get any better than this one. You hear that? I'll sing a song. Saturnalia, here I come. Saturnalia, here I come. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I don't even know where to go from here.
As the AIDS epidemic continues making headlines around the world, it's no different here in Schreiber Newsline. Many of the students in Schreiber are questioning the education on this disease within our school. Here's Abby Rosenberg with more on that.
Thanks, Ross. AIDS. Ask just about any student you meet here at Schreiber what it is, how you get it, who it afflicts, and how it's treated, and it's a safe bet you'll get more than one wrong answer. Ask another question, like perhaps, where did you learn your information? And you'll receive a plethora of sources with the exception of one, Schreiber High School. Despite valiant efforts on part of the HRC and the nurse's office, a large number of students still remain in the dark when it comes to the truth about AIDS and the HIV virus. Considering the facts that some students don't take the required health course until they reach the second semester of their senior year, it's possible that some risky sex is going on unbeknownst to its participants. Learning the facts on AIDS might be quite easy. A walk down to the nurse's office, signing your name on the HRC workshop list, getting a ride to school in the evening. But all these opportunities that may seem so simple on the outside are in essence a little more difficult. They both take self-motivation and free time. Many of Schreiber's students have neither. So what happens to these students who have yet to reach their last year here at Schreiber? Are they to go on believing the fallacies about AIDS that ignorance and prejudice create? To offer the students information on AIDS is simply not enough. Most teenagers who have a hard time getting to class on time are not going to go out of their way to read a pamphlet on AIDS or to give up their TV time at night. It's sad and it's wrong, but it's a fact. If the Schreiber administration want to get the truth out to its students about AIDS, some mandatory measures are going to have to be taken. Perhaps recorded attendance at AIDS awareness assemblies may be one way to begin. Options need to be explored. The health education curriculum on AIDS at Schreiber may or may not be adequate. I wouldn't know. I haven't taken it yet, but that's the point. The school setting is an ideal place to learn about a disease that afflicts such a wide range of people, and to fail to take advantage of this may literally cost lives.
Thank you, Abby, for your editorial. One of the biggest days was December 11th, the day the big storm hit Long Island. In port, roads were closed and flooded, and Schreiber lost its electricity, resulting in a blackout. The lights went out at about 11 a.m. Students were escorted to either the cafeteria or the gym. Schreiber became chaotic, with students running around in the halls. After school was officially canceled, the crowd diminished.
I think that if they recognized the problem earlier and saw, that there might be a problem with this storm coming, they would have taken proper precautions with the transportation company earlier this morning before we got to school. So, you know, in case of emergency, they would have a set time that the buses would come and we would be home. Thank you.
All the students who participated in a fall sport gathered at the Sports Night Award ceremony. There, the students received their letters and awards. We interviewed some of the students with a recap of their season.
We're here with Peter Whitcomb, Spencer Forden, Tommy Shower, and Roger Massey of the Port Boys varsity football team. How was your season this year?
Well, we had a pretty good season. I'm looking forward to a better one next year. I'm going to win the Heisman Trophy.
We're going to the turf, that's all I have to say.
Started off strong. I don't know, we started to slide towards the end. I'm just looking forward to next year. It's going to be a tough season, but we should excel.
Penn State's ours. I'm coming to Penn State. I want you, Joe Paterno. You're mine. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
In your face. Looking forward to next year. We're going to that turf. We're going to win that cup. And Syosset's going down. That's all I got to say.
We're here at the girls cross country track team. How was your season this year?
Very good. It was an excellent season. We really bonded as a team, regardless of the winnings, because the winnings really don't matter. The team really got to know each other.
We were 10-5 though.
We had a lot of fun. I have my P to show for it.
You want to whip out that P there, T?
Yo, I think I have to show the P.
She's showing the P.
Oh, we didn't get foot though. We were neglected to getting foot.
This is it, man. This is the P.
Here's my coach, Joe. How was our season this year, Joe?
Our season was wonderful. We finished 9-2-2 and won the Sportsmanship Award, which shows you that good guys can also finish almost first.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, Principal's Corner with Dr. Sidney Barish.
On November 6th, a drug bust occurred at Schreiber, where 1 junior and 3 sophomores were suspended for selling and usage of marijuana on school grounds. What has the administration done to prevent further usage and selling of marijuana on school grounds?
Well, that's another interesting occurrence, and I guess goes in the line of a disciplinary issue. I think our response to that matter is a strong message and statement in itself. From the standpoint of perspective, here again, I view this as a rather isolated incident. It didn't involve 4 kids. It was a rather small quantity of pot we were dealing with. And in spite of that, regardless of the amount, we weren't concerning ourselves with the amount. We came down quite strongly on the students. I suspended each of the students for 5 days. It resulted in a superintendent's hearing for 2 of the students, and that resulted in an extension of the suspension and some community service. So I think as much as anything, the response on the part of the school and its staff is as critical a message as any, and our response was swift. It was harsh, and deservedly, I think, in terms of sending a strong message and signal to all kids that that kind of behavior will not be tolerated here. At the same time, we pointed the kids in the direction of helping resources within the school, through their home, and even in the community to the extent it might be necessary, just to keep some dialogue going. So in terms of prevention, I think the way you start is by sending out a strong message in terms of your response on how that kind of behavior won't be tolerated. Beyond that, you go to education. I'm happy to say that we detected the problem because teachers referred some students to us for some questionable behavior, and it was the responsiveness on the part of the teachers that first brought the matter to our attention. So I think having a staff tuned in, knowing that they will be supported when matters like that are referred to us, are all important steps to have in place and procedures to have in place if you're going to make a dent in this kind of problem. So we're continuing to demonstrate to the staff that we are supportive of that kind of information, trying to give them additional information on signs to look for to see if kids are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, so that they will be better prepared to respond if an instance indeed does occur. And we will establish referral procedures to us as administrators and then outside the school as the case warrants it. But thankfully, the problem has been confined, to our knowledge, to a small number of students. And I think the message is out there that as much as this kind of behavior, namely using drugs or alcohol, is not something we're happy about no matter where it occurs, most assuredly it will not be tolerated here at Schreiber.
Coming up next, Sports Shorts with Andy Cass. After this.
819 in
Every week for the past 4 years, Stephanie has read stories to a room full of Savannah, Georgia preschoolers. Every week, the look on the children's faces is priceless. Love that Stephanie feels from every child has made her life a whole lot brighter. Even though Stephanie has never even seen their faces. To see how you can help in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
And now it's time for Sports Short with SNL's very own Andrew Cass.
Thanks, Rusty. I'm Andy Cass, and welcome back to another edition of SNL Sports. This time, the winter variety, and kicking it off with girls gymnastics. Under rookie head coach Chris Palatella, who's married to science teacher Mr. Fish, making her one crispy fish. The Lady Vikings straddled, bounced, tiptoed, and rolled to a 10-1 record. Freshman Kinsley O'Garrow was a standout all season long, then vaulted her way into the counties. Senior Val DeSandro and junior Amy Brett, but no skier, also contributed greatly to the squad's success. According to Coach Palatella, gymnastics is so difficult because it challenges the body beyond your wildest dreams. Oh, wow. And on the boys' hoops, despite the anticipated return of Eric E.V., the Latvian Nightmare, at Vanegs, and David Pow Pow Bam Bam Bigelow, Whack Powers, poor basketball struggled but managed to hold together through a difficult year amongst the Hempsteads and Baldwins of the Conference 1 basketball world. The Vikings' prorated record against East Meadow and Hicksville was 17-0. Unfortunately, due to scheduling complications, Port was forced by league officials to arrange 14 of Port's contests against teams that could have sported entrance in the Gatorade Slam Dunk competition, and so Port finished 3-14. At the end of the season, Port's Bryce Romer, in style with the new McDonald's commercial, bet his Big Mac against Hempstead's conference playoff championship trophy. The rules, no dunking. After Hempstead's center missed the trick around the back over the backboard shot, Romer set from behind half court and good. And now on to boys wrestling. I know they've been mocked all year for the funny-sounding, heinous fungus that's plagued the team the entire season, and not to mention the wrestling gym. I think that if any team deserves congratulations, the wrestling team does for overcoming such adversity. Wrestling team, congratulations. Now on to girls track. The girls of Schreiber High School took second place at the division championships on January 30th. Port's very own Special K, Karina Long Live the King, had a ubiquitous and fortuitous day before spring for the thriving former neophyte King, who danced her way to second place in the 300-meter run and then the 600-meter run, only to have her 600-meter second place finish stripped from her because she was wearing illegal spandex. No, not the anti-nuclear spandex. Not the spandex invented by the guy who invented the little plastic doohickey valve thing on the artificial heart. No siree. King was disqualified because her spandex had a stripe on it. Ooh, nelly. Junior Westminster Abby Rosenberg also gained a third place finish for the Lady Vikings at the division meet. She gained hers in a high jump, clearing a 4-foot 10-inch stick. And that's 4 feet, 9 inches taller than Abby is. Good God. And junior Amy Ice Cream Cohen took third place in the 55-meter dash, falling just 1 place short of her second place in the preliminary class ranks. King completed her trifecta in the afternoon by anchoring the first place Port 4x400 relay team. And we'll switch over to boys winter track. Matty Connors just snooped it, baby, all the way to 6th place in the 3,200-meter run. Just snooped it, baby, scored second best time in school history. And R. Mar Star had his personal best of 2:53 in the 1,000 meters. And as we look to close out this edition of SNL Sports, we will now turn to Lady Vikings Whoops, led by senior center Debbie Harry and the Hendersons and the Shackles sisters. Port steamroll to a 13-2 record and second place finish in league play. And speaking of the Lady Vikings, the quote of the week goes to Schreiber Times sports editor Wild Wilbur Goldfarb for his February 12th article on girls hoops. This one's entitled Lady Vikings Eye Top Spot. And as I quote Wilbur talking about the Lady Vikings basketball team, the team are proving there's a new sheriff in town. Hey, Wilbur, you figure that one out.
Thank you, Andrew.
And thank you for joining us tonight. See you next time on SNL.